to an emotion, it'll stick a little deeper in your memory bank. Humor is an emotion. It's a fun emotion, but it's still an emotion. So if you attach humor to that thought that negative is invalid, you attach them together, it'll stick a little deeper in your brain. That's one reason I wanted to give it a giggle. Second reason is, did you hear me at the end? Silly, silly me. I've been carrying that negative around all these years. Silly, silly me. You're taking on responsibility for allowing that negative to be there. You got to take on responsibility. Who's running this show? I'm running this show, so if that negative's there, I allowed it. Silly, silly me. I've been carrying that negative around all these years. Laugh at yourself. And then what I want you to do after you give it a good giggle and take on the responsibility for allowing it to be there, what I want you to do with that negative is kick it right on out. Kick it right on out of that thought process. And what you have just done there by eliminating that negative is you've just reopened that door to the free thought process just a little bit. You've just reopened the door just a little bit. And you keep attacking these negatives, keep attacking these negatives, keep attacking these negatives. And the door to the free thought process starts opening back up. Because you're getting rid of this junk you were taught by the 3-4%ers. You got to identify where this source comes from. It's 3-4% opinion. You're eliminating it. You're opening that door. You're getting rid of this stuff that closed it in the first place. This outside-in thought process that's being operated. I call it this 8 man-made world out here. It's human beings still thinking as animals. We're still doing that outside-in conceptualization. We are no longer that. We're inside-out thinkers. Who says that? Oh, yeah, that old universal law thing. When that individual element uses their particular at its optimum, we're not even close. 3-4%. And that's a super high estimate. We're not even close to using that much. But anyway, this is why. We're inside-out thinkers, and we're taught outside-in thought. You keep attacking these negatives, keep attacking them, keep attacking them, keep opening that door to the free thought process, and what that'll do is it'll allow this thought process to work from the inside out like it's built to do. Who says that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what he said. He's the base. We're going to keep going back to that universal law thing, but that's one way. You just start attacking them negatives. And the cool thing about this, you can attack these negatives anytime, anywhere. I'll give you an example. I was in line. It was the 24th, Christmas Eve, and everybody's going crazy. The store was closing in about 20 minutes, and this is when they closed at 6, and you got no more after that. And everybody's going crazy. I'm waiting in line to get out, and I'm going to be there 20 minutes or so, you know. So I just ripped apart a negative. Still in line. I ripped apart another one. I get out of that line, you know, after waiting there 20 or 30 minutes, don't even pay attention. Get out of that line. Everybody's all, I had to wait like blah, blah, blah. I'm going, I got rid of 2 negatives. You can do this anytime, anywhere. And you're reopening that door anytime, anywhere, as long as you're awake, as long as you're conscious. You may be at work or something, you're doing something, and a negative pops in there. You don't want to analyze it right then. Put it on a shelf. When you're standing in line somewhere, pull it off the shelf, rip it apart, get rid of it, throw it out. You could do this anytime, anywhere. That's the first step. Start eliminating your negatives, start reopening the door to the free thought process. Here's the second one. Now this part deals with motion, the laws of motion, physical laws of motion. The reason I'm talking of motion is we as human beings are in motion from the time we're born till the time we die. Therefore, we are subject to the rules and regulations of motion. There was a guy back here that came up with this theory. I think it's been proven now. It's real close if not. But this theory goes, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction that builds upon itself. Now, basically, all you have to understand about that is it generates. Motion generates. Now, there's only two ways it goes. It is either controlled motion that builds upon itself, or it is uncontrolled motion that builds upon itself. There's only two ways it goes. There is no stagnation in motion. It's either controlled motion or uncontrolled motion. We, as human beings, the inside-out thinkers we are, create your mind what you want, make it happen out there, when we use our particular, we are built to control our motion. Create your mind what you want, make it happen out there, we are built to control our motion. We are built to control our motion. How do you control your motion? Well, the only way you can control your motion is you got to know where you're going to control the motion to get there. You got to know where you're going to control the motion to get there. I'll give you an example. I like to use cars for examples because everybody's relatable to cars, and motion is motion. It doesn't make any difference what motion it is. So I like to use cars for an example. I could buy a brand new car. I could drive that car until the wheels are ready to fall off. 250, 300,000 miles down the road. Buy another car. Do exactly the same thing. I could drive those cars around my entire existence. But until I know where I'm going, I will never, ever, ever get there. You can't get there if you don't know where you're going. The same as in this life, game of life. You got to build these objectives. I call it the game of life. And the reason I call it the game of life is, what do you do when you play a game? You create an objective. You want to win. And then what do? You develop the strategy to get there. The same as in the game of life. You build these objectives, and then you develop the strategy to get there. And you want to do this in everything you're doing. Whether it be your friends, your family, your job, everything you're dealing with. Create the objective. Where do I want to take this? And then you develop the strategy to get there. We are built to do that. Who says that? Oh, yeah. That whole universal law thing. We're built to do this. Now, while you're building these objectives, there will be obstacles. There's going to be obstacles. I'm going to use that car for an example. Say I'm going to get in this car and go to the grocery store 2 miles down the road, city traffic. I start that car in motion. As soon as I start that car in motion, there will be obstacles. There's going to be other cars, intersections, stoplights, stop signs, pedestrians, all kinds of obstacles out there. But you've done it, you do it all the time. You know how to work around those things. So you're coming up to, you've got a green light, and you're going about 35, and this guy's coming about 50 towards the red light. You know he ain't going to stop. You can see he's going too fast to stop. Do you go out in the middle of the intersection and get blasted by that car? No. You saw it coming. You stop. You honk your horn. You give him the finger. And you go on. You go down a little ways, and the bridge is out. Do you turn around and go back home? No. You find another path. The same as when you're developing your objectives. There will be obstacles, but you get better at it, just like you did by driving the car. You get used to it. And you'll see these things coming. You'll see that guy's going to run the red light when you're building this objective. And you stop. You'll work around it. You'll run into complete dead ends. You go back home? No. You find another path. You create those objectives. Now what I've just done there is I've given you two different avenues to get this thing operating the way it was built to do, based on universal law. Inside out versus outside in. It's a complete reverse of the thought process. Complete. See, we're human beings still thinking like animals. That's why I call it 8 man-made world. We're living in an 8 man-made world. It's human being, but they're still thinking like animals, still doing this outside-in conceptualization. We are not that. Who says that? Oh, yeah, an old big universal law. I mean, everything that exists must abide by it. We're not doing that. We're inside-out thinkers doing outside-in thought. We haven't caught on, and that's what these words are coming out of his daggone mouth about. Hey, this is real. This is all could be proven. This is exact. This is practicality. This is what we are. This is what we're doing. And you'll see it. It's so cool when you start seeing this. You'll see this outside in everywhere. Everywhere. We're inside out thinkers doing outside in thought. It becomes obvious. But I give you two different directions to attack it. One of them, eliminate your negatives. Get rid of this junk you've been taught by the 3-4 percenters. Open that door to the free thought process. Start working it from the inside out. Developing the objectives. And developing the strategy to get there. Creating the strategy to get there. It's so cool. You just get rid of one negative. You look at it and you attack it. Start with little ones if you need to. Start with little ones. Just look at it and analyze it. Rip it apart logically. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And kick it out. You get rid of one negative, you'll see there's validity in what I'm saying here. You just create one objective. Just look at it and see yourself going there and developing the strategy to get there and see yourself doing that and go, wow, I can do this. I can do this. And you start building bigger objectives. And then you start building bigger objectives. And you get better at it. And you learn how to maneuver your way through the strategies developed to develop the end conclusion. And you start learning how to control this thing up here. Because we are inside-out thinkers. We run the show. And we know who says that. That's that old pesky universal law thing. Everything that exists must abide by it. There is no court of appeals. This is exact. Everything that exists is supposed to be doing this. We're not doing that. We are in the transformation from being the ape thing, the inside out, outside in thinker we were, to the inside out thinker that we are. Two different avenues. Okay? That's what we are as human beings. This is reality. This is exact. Now, what I'm going to go into next, which is really, really cool, is how that relates to all existence. The reason for the physical world and all that, the big boy. But this is huge, because you're completely reversing this thought process. What I want you to do first, is stick this in your mind. I took a concept as big as, well, it's a huge concept, and I put it on a pinhead. Well, actually, I put it on the pin, the other pinhead, the other end of it. I mean, this is so concise for a concept this big. But I wanted to make it short. And I shortened it. It took me 10 years to shorten it, 15 to shorten it to short. But anyway, I took this concept, made this little, so you could stick it in your brain. If you have to listen to this 10 times, listen to it 10 times. You know, get it up there. Get a good solid up there. If you have to listen to it 100 times, listen to it 100 times. Because you may be a year down the road. That's what he meant by that. He may be 5 years down the road. That's what he meant by that. This is not that easy to reverse the thought process by any means. It's not easy by any means. But you just stick this in there, and you'll see it developing. All right, back to where this is going. Because I'm going to take this concept, and then I'm going to take it into theology, the reasoning of all existence. But I'm using this as a base. I call it belief through practicality. Belief is the one you can't prove. That's theology, theories. That's why it's just a theory. You haven't proven it yet. I'm taking it into that from this. I'm using the practicality of this, of being the inside-out thinker, and then I'm going on into how that relates to everything. And the reasoning for everything is really, really cool. But it's something that'll keep these little mind twisting around for a long time.